I'm Jillian. I'm the marketing director. Today, obviously, I'm talking about Instagram Reels, but before I get started, how many of you guys are familiar with Reels? Like, what's your knowledge level with it? Start with you.
Sure, somewhat familiar, last 4 or 5 months. I think, hot on Instagram, seeing doing reels, doing social media. I partnered with someone that's a content creator, but he had $30,000.
Okay.
And I was providing the content in terms of like actually doing the edits, and videos out,
Okay, cool. So you filmed, they edited, and then did you post it
Yeah,
yourself?
so she like did this one has the additive caption at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then she invited me to July and I accepted. So then I can see like, the analytics of my page and like.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And then what about you?
I know how to make them. I do do better. Like I know Brandon has really good reels with aliens and everything. Just the words pop up and I get them the best.
Yeah.
Next
Next level. Okay. So are there videos of you like talking?
Yeah, you can pull it. It's me talking and stuff about.
I don't know how to use the technology right away.
Mortgage programs,
Okay.
first mobile programs, the content creator, she's a realtor, I'm a mortgage person.
Okay.
And she had questions about VA specific loans and how you might assume things like that. So I came and did a whole talk about it. And it's funny because, I got in business back in 2009 and social media wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of survived on for, say, Brandon, I'll talk to you for like 3 or 4 minutes and you'll say 5 things. I'm like, just come in one day and talk. So here, list of questions. We did one take and lasted over an hour. And so they took that footage.
Chopped it up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And is it performing well?
Yeah, one of my videos got over 20,000 views.
That's good.
We did one recently last week. She's like talking and she says it's why I support it. She points and it goes to the video. It's only been 5 days, it's got 5,000 views.
That's good. It's really good. Yeah. Awesome. And then anyone else using Reels right now?
I have no idea how to use them yet.
Okay. Anyone in the back? No. All right. So I kind of geared this towards the person that isn't too familiar with Reels. So I'll go through this and then I can talk more about like the more in-depth stuff after. I didn't really know what the crowd was going to be. But as you guys know, Instagram Reels is basically Instagram's reply to TikTok. But unlike stories, they live on your profile instead of disappearing after 24 hours. And Reels get 22% more interaction than standard video posting. So they're really on the come up on Instagram, as everyone knows. So this is the way. So background of me, I was a content creator for QVC, filmed videos. I also worked at a TikTok marketing agency. So this is like my bread and butter. So the way that I boiled it down that makes the most sense for me is picking an audio, filming the content, editing it, and then posting it. So before you get started, you want to make sure you have the right audio selected, whether that's a trending sound where you're voicing over someone else's like sound, like the Kardashians talking or something like that. You can also choose music that speaks to you, or you could go for a trending sound, which is my personal favorite way to go about it. So on Reels, you can look at all the trending audios before you begin to film. Right now, a lot of Christmas stuff. You can see there's a bunch of things going on, even stuff like this song has been trending for so long when I first got on TikTok years ago. But choosing a trending sound helps with the algorithm. It also makes your content more trendy, relevant. It is with the whole Gen Z vibe of Reels and Instagram. So you can either choose an audio like that, or you can use the own audio that you record, like you talking, or you can pair both together where it's talking with a little bit of music in the background or something like that. But when you do that, you want to make sure, obviously, the music doesn't drown out your natural sound, which I see a lot of people do, and people in the comments are like, turn the music down, I can't hear you, which is something you got to pay attention to before you post. So it's easy to find the trending sounds. They all have this little arrow next to them. And whether it's trending or not, obviously you can use whatever sound you like, but that's just something if you're getting started to pay attention to, because it does put your video in the algorithm, it does help you out. And then if you like the sound, you can save it, clicking this button so you don't lose it. I do that all the time. I don't save sound and then I can never find it again. But I get inspired by scrolling Reels, saving audio, seeing what other people in my niche are doing. So looking at other realtors, other people doing the kind of videos that you want to emulate is a great way to get started. So one thing to pay attention in the next step of the creation process is filming. You want to film in a 9:16 ratio, which is basically holding your phone like this way instead of this way, because you want it to be full screen, because that also helps with the algorithm. If your video isn't full screen, your video won't be pushed out to the algorithm. So full screen, 9:60 ratio, high resolution, good lighting. That means just filming when the lighting's right, don't film in a dark room and get the TikTok light. Have you guys seen that? I have, okay. So if you're filming yourself speaking, if you're not in like the studio or you're just at home in front of a blank wall. Give me a second here. You can get one of these from like Amazon and put it on your phone like this. And then this better be charged. And then it lights up, gives you the good lighting. You can even flip it the other way if you're filming something, if the lighting isn't good. But I think good lighting is one of the most important keys to filming. So when you're looking at these two phones, which one fits the bill? Which one's the better looking one if you're scrolling through reels? The one on the left, yes. So you want it to be full screen, whereas that one's cute. They should have expanded the video. So when you're editing the next step, you have two options in Reels. You can edit on the Instagram app, or you can edit on an external app. I prefer editing on an external app because it helps you repurpose the video on TikTok. So you can post it both platforms and it's not only in your Instagram. So you want to keep your video under 90 seconds. This helps get your video in the Explore feed. You want to use on-screen text, Instagram fonts. I'll get more into the fonts, and then add voiceovers when needed. You can do this on the Instagram app or in the editing apps. So editing apps you can use are Splice, CapCut, or Instagram, like I said. Does anyone use Splice? No? A little bit?
Here's what call it.
Mojo. Oh yeah, I do know that one.
Yeah.
So Splice is good. I wish I could like put my phone on mirror my phone on the wall, but I can't. But it's good if you like record a bunch of clips, say you're walking around showing a listing, you can put all the clips in Splice, chop them up, you can add your voiceover, your music, the text, do everything from there, and then you have one video that you can put on Reels and you can put on TikTok. Has anyone heard of CapCut? Yeah. So CapCut is a really easy way to edit videos. They have preset templates that you upload your photos, your images to, and they do it to the music, or you can edit it on Instagram. So I'm gonna play this video from KW Philly's Instagram that I think is a great example. So this, so sorry, it's under 90 seconds. It uses trending sounds. What else did I write? Good lighting and full screen. So that's not so much a trending sound that's like an audio of people talking, but it's a trendy music sound that can help get your video pushed onto the Explore feed. The content's pretty, it's nice to look at, but that one doesn't have any on text words on the screen, but I don't think it needs it because that's when your caption comes into play and you can put all your information there. So if you want to add fonts to your Instagram reel, you can use things like this is a screenshot from Splice. They have all of the Instagram fonts preloaded into the app, so you don't need to edit on the app. And then if you were to keep scrolling, they have all the TikTok fonts too. So you can just edit that. When this is going on Instagram, use an Instagram font. If it's going on TikTok, make sure to use a TikTok font. And then these are examples from KW Philly's Instagram, where I use Splice with the text on the screen. So this is one thing that drives me nuts personally. When someone saves a video from their TikTok account and then puts it on Reels and they keep the watermark from TikTok, I don't think it looks good. So one trick I've found is to use apps like snaptic.app and snapinsta.app. These are websites you can type it on your phone. So you copy the link from TikTok, and then you put the link into this is Snapchat, and then you can download it, and it will save your video without the watermark, which is great if you're trying to repurpose content, which I think everyone should be doing. If you're making the video for TikTok, you should put it on Instagram too. So when you're posting, there's 3 things you need to keep in mind, and I'm guilty of wanting to just get something up and I type my caption quickly and look back and I'm like, oh, I could have made that so much better. So really thinking of a good caption, you want to make sure you're using keywords, especially if you don't have voiceover in your video, you want to make sure your caption has all the keywords. So Instagram can recognize what you're saying in a video and use those keywords. So say someone were to type in orange juice in Philly. So say you're talking about orange juice, your keywords recognize your video can pop up. But if you're not talking, you need to make sure your caption has all the words that if someone were to type it in, your video would accumulate when you're searching. It's also great to have a call to action in your caption. I'm sure you do that all the time with your videos, encouraging people to comment, ask a question, do something to drive engagement and get people commenting, liking on your posts. And then be very in-depth about what your content has to offer. It goes back to the keywords. You want to make sure when people are searching for what your video has to offer, your video pops up. And then hashtags are also very important to use. I say 3 to 5. A lot of people do way more than that, but I think 3 to 5 is good. So this is something I think is kind of newer to Reels. I don't know, has anyone used topics before?
I've seen it, but I haven't used it.
Yeah, so it's a way to categorize your Reels before posting to help the algorithm better prioritize your video. So before you post, this screen obviously comes up. You want to click add topics, and then they have so many things you can scroll through. So you click the things that are the most relevant to your video, so that way your video comes up to the people that you want to see it. So another thing that's really important when you're posting to Reels is to make sure you actually post to Reels and you don't post to your main feed. So Instagram, you can post to your feed and post to Reels, but when you post to Reels, the algorithm thinks that, so it pushes your video out to people that don't follow you. So that's really important. You know, when you go on Instagram and you can click on the Reels tab and scroll through and just mindlessly see videos from people you don't follow, that's where you want your video to go. So obviously the people that already follow you like your content, they're going to see it anyway, but posting the Reels gets it out to new people. So when you click upload, go down here, and then instead of clicking post, you want to make sure you click reel. Have you been doing that when you post your Reels?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So the takeaways from this is that consistency is definitely key with Reels. You want to post as much as you can. You want to stay up to date with all the trends, the sounds, video trends going on. So you got to be an active user of Reels to understand how to use Reels. Be authentic and have fun with it. And I think your authenticity shines through your content. When you care about what you're saying, what you're posting, it comes through and gains you a more authentic audience. So that's what I have so far, but I feel like you guys have a little bit more knowledge on Reels than I was expecting. So we can talk more about really anything. Does anyone have any questions?
In your opinion, to be like active consistent, how many posts is someone doing per week? You said per month.
I would say, I think of it more like on a daily basis. No one wants to see content from you more than once a day. I think stories you can post as much as you want, but Reels wise, post wise, if you're mixing in regular posts like still images and Reels, I say 1 post a day. I think that's the best way to go because you don't want people unfollowing you. You don't want to spam people's feeds like, oh, he posts 10 times a day. But I would go for once a day. If you have that content, put it out there. There's also ways that to, like, I'm sure you do this, like repurpose videos in different ways, chop them up different ways. So say you post something and it's 60 seconds. You could probably chop it down to be a 15-second video and repurpose it a month later, post it again. And it's almost like a test you can do with yourself to see, oh, does my longer form content do better or does the 15-second content do better? When I worked at a TikTok agency, we found the highest performing videos on TikTok were 7 seconds. It's really short.
Oh.
Yeah, so the videos that I'd be filming that took me so long and were a minute long would do fine. And then the video I filmed in 7 seconds, that's the video that went viral. I'm like, all right, well maybe I should be putting in less effort to this. But it's really just something you gotta mess around with. I feel like it's like, oh, you say algorithm this, algorithm that, but you gotta find what works for you.
Like, let's say our soon that's a real certain monthly post to say 5 videos, and let's say on a 2 period, should all 5 involve more we'll say content, like, hey, brands at a restaurant, brands at the gym, what's in content maybe to what's the problem is? So I feel like people want to see that you're a real person.
Yes.
About that and so forth.
Yeah, that's what I was exactly gonna say. I think it's a good mix of like lifestyle content, like who you are, being authentic, like what stuff resonates with you, but then also the educational stuff. But mixing in like, a friend I was talking to about this, but they said that so they were looking through Instagram feeds of everyone in the room. And someone picked theirs as the best one because it had a mix of their dogs and restaurants they've been going to, and then obviously work related stuff. So you seem like a real person, someone you want to follow. But it's really up to you. But I think mixing in stuff, you can never go wrong. And then it's just like I said before, you can mess around and see what kind of content works best for you, because sometimes your niche is different than what you thought. Yeah, Jamie.
And this may be something that varies greatly, but do you have any insight into the types of real estate content that tend to get the most engagement? So I mean, being in the real estate industry and on Instagram, I have 1,000 different real estate agents that follow me and that I follow, and I see some very different strategies. There are some that all they post is, like sit down interviews where they're talking about this, that, and the other thing in the real estate world. On the other hand, you have some people who will only post like open house tours and things like that. I mean, do you see a difference in the engagement that different types of real estate specific content generate?
See, I would say it all depends on what you want your Instagram to provoke, what you want to do. Do you want to share your listings? Is that the main goal of your account, or do you want to be an educator? Or do you want to be a little bit of both? I think if you're worrying about getting your listings out there, you should keep your content like that. But as far as what performs better, I can't say I necessarily know, but I do have to say before I started working in the real estate sphere, the kind of content that would pop up on my page without me looking for it was the educational stuff, less so of the listings, like someone walking around explaining factual things while walking through a listing. Or have you guys ever seen the women that dress up like really fancy and then walk around in really pretty houses? Like stuff like that obviously is gonna pop up, but I do think the educational stuff when you're speaking to the camera does do well now.
And is there more merit to finding something that makes you stand out, or catering towards the things that are trending, the things the algorithm is looking for?
I do have to say the algorithm favors trends. So when you're using a trending sound, have you ever scrolled through TikTok or Instagram Reels and you're getting the same audio again and again and again? It does favor trends. So I do have to say is even if that isn't really your niche, your thing, I think everyone should at least try doing the trends because it is what's favored. So yeah. Anyone else?
Is there a certain time that's the best day to post a reel versus a story versus the actual post?
So you can actually get that insight on your Instagram and go through your month and see what times a day worked best for you.
What if you don't post and you just want to know? Like, what if you don't do any of it right now?
So the way I like to think about it is like, when are you on Instagram? I'm not on Instagram on Friday. I'm out to dinner, I'm doing something, but everyone's on Instagram on Sunday morning. Everyone's on Instagram after work. Everyone's on Instagram around lunchtime. So I like to post when I think people are sitting on their phone with nothing else to do. So I think about it that way. If you're not going to look at your actual numbers and use that information because you don't have it, I would think about it that way. When you think your followers are on the app, and most likely to engage with your content. Yeah.
Let's look like there's a question in the chat. I'll pull up.
Also to the point of engagement, it's better to have something new and fresh or something that's had a few hours for people to like and move up, right? Like, well, is there a better way to get new engagement other than being new versus other people liking it and bringing it up in their feed?
Do you mean like, do you want more people that don't follow you to see your content?
Yeah, to her point of what time of day.
Oh, okay.
Like, do I want to be fresh when you are taking it up at lunch and looking at it? Because
Yeah.
do it, right? Or do I want to have like 4 or 5 hours lead time and other folks will have engaged it and then more people see it, right?
Okay, good question. So I answered that more as like people that follow you and the people that are going to see you on your following feed. But as far as the explore feed in the algorithm, the content you're seeing on that is old. Like sometimes I'll go to the comments and the comments will be from like October 30th. So that so much I don't think matters. I think you want to hit Instagram Reels at a good time posting wise, but if your content does end up performing well, it's going to be shown to people for longer than you think. So I would still pay attention to that rule, like getting it out there at a good time. But I think if you want your content to be on the explore feed, I don't think that matters as much.
Kathy would like to know which platform is best to make your real estate real.
Okay. Do you mean posting wise or editing wise? I'm gonna answer both, so. I would say editing, I would edit on Splice, just because, or anything like Splice, but you use Mojo. Anything like that, just so you have the content, you can repurpose it on TikTok, you can repurpose it on Instagram, you can post it on Facebook if you want. But I'm confused. Platform as in like social media platform, I would post it on both. I would post it on TikTok and Reels because why not? Something might do better on TikTok and might flop on Reels, you never know. You can also try posting things, like I said, twice, repurposing a little bit, so 60-second video, make it 15 seconds, post it again, see if it does well. I hope I answered that right. It's the camera back there. I hope I answered it right. I feel like I'm just like talking like this. Anything else? I can get more in depth on anything really. Yeah.
So I've never used TikTok at all.
Mm-hmm.
I literally created an account on Friday.
Really?
Really? So like, is there a way to timely take some of my Instagram content, get it post on TikTok? What's like the best way to line this?
I would go for the once a day rule. Just post it, but on TikTok, your caption is so important. Make sure the keywords are in your caption. Make sure you're using the hashtags because you want the people that are going to the search bar. I personally, I forget where I read this, but I resonate with this myself. I use TikTok as my Google, or I use Reels as my Google. So like, if I want to know like, how to get, today I was Googling how to get my Canva presentation in Google Slides. I went right to TikTok because I can get a little video, someone explains it in 30 seconds, and I have my answer. So make sure your keywords are in your caption and you're using the hashtag so people can find that content. But with TikTok, the algorithm is so, once you think you understand it, you don't. And no one really knows how it works. But you just gotta kind of find your groove and see what works for you. Like I said, like the 7-second videos when I was at that agency worked so well. So we were pushing on 7 seconds, 7 seconds, 7 seconds. And that's when our platform grew like 15,000 followers in one weekend. Yeah.
So you talked a little bit the TikTok watermark, removing that. So I heard that the algorithms actually look for the metadata. So for like Instagram, I heard that the algorithm for Instagram looks for TikTok metadata in the file and then says like, we're not going to pay for that as heavily if you're pulling the file directly over. Do you know if the same programs that remove the watermark also handle that aspect of it? I
would say so. So that's why I was recommending editing on Reels. So you just have one video that you can post on Instagram and post on TikTok instead of downloading from TikTok and posting on Reels, which I do sometimes because I think editing on TikTok is just so easy. And the sounds are really easy to find. But I do think there is something to be said for that being true because I have experienced that myself. Were you asking like if Instagram does the same thing as TikTok?
Or just if there was a good way to get around it, you know, if some of these third-party softwares that help remove the watermarks and things like that also could clean the file up to make it.
I actually don't know. That's a really good question. But yeah, I guess like I've also heard though that post not editing, this goes for TikTok. TikTok favors videos that are edited in the TikTok app instead of something uploaded and posted. But like I said before, no one really knows about TikTok's algorithm. You got to find what works for you, but I've always edited on an outside app and uploaded and it works for me. So that's what I can say for that.
Marissa would like to know, is there a way to save Instagram Reels to your camera roll on your phone?
Yes. Okay. I wish I could like mirror my phone to the screen. I can talk through it. Let me talk you through it. So when you open Instagram to your reel, so if it's your video, you will be able to download it. If it's someone else's video, sometimes people turn off downloading, so you might not be able to. But when you open Instagram, you hit the 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner of the video, and you will be able to download it that way. Or you can use the share thing, like I said before, and then copy the link. I feel weird looking to the camera. Copy the link. And then use that app that I said, the snapinsta.app or snapinsta.app. That's a website, it sounds weird, I wanna say .com. And then upload the link to that, and then you can download from there. So either way, yes, there is a way to download your Instagram to your camera.
Thank you. I think I've been trying to figure that out for like months now. So that's super helpful.
I can send you the links to those websites if you want to.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I did take screenshots of the screen that you were sharing too, just so I had
But yeah,
them.
use those, it's super easy.
Perfect. Thank you.
I didn't know I could hear everyone.
Yeah, anyone else who has questions, who is on the Zoom, please feel free to unmute yourself when no one else is talking, obviously, and ask your questions.
I have a question.
Yeah,
For older people like myself, and that are afraid to post or like do anything like this, what would you say is the best way to start?
why are you afraid?
Because I'm afraid to like do something wrong on my, like turn my phone off wrong, like I'm of that generation. that, like,
Okay.
is afraid to.
Yeah,
So like I just never got into any of that stuff.
Mhm.
I will call JP when something happens to my computer. I'm afraid it's gonna explode.
don't be afraid. It's just social media. What's the worst thing that could happen? Like, just put yourself out there. You can't be embarrassed. You really can't. Like, I was that girl posting on my YouTube channel makeup tutorials when I was 12. Like, nothing embarrasses me. And the worst thing that happens is you upload something wrong and you delete it. As long as you don't offend anyone or do anything wrong, what's the worst thing that could happen?
I can speak to that. I'm kind of like, I have a bug personality like in person, but on social media, I kind of overthink it.
Yeah.
Like, is this really, am I supposed to be serious for
Be yourself.
okay? And then there's something that I've always blown my numbers is like how many people I need to kind of connect with every day. And so like, there's no way I can talk to 50 people every day like my regular day-to-day life. And so I'm like, well, now you post on Instagram, like make some connection there. That kind of takes that day also. Like it kind of puts a lot of basis for me that way. So if I feel like another person, an actual person is saying, okay, I can reach 25 people by posting a reel or posting my story. Like that's 25 or whatever the case may be. So that helped me be able to like, okay, I'll go ahead and post it with the worst that can happen. I think 2 or 5 for that.
It's true, but it is like, it's easier if you're kind of more like introverted or shy. It's like, so many people I know that are shy in real life are so like outspoken on Instagram, and then the other way, like people that are really not shy. Like it goes both ways. But I think once you get into the groove and you just post it once and then nothing bad happens, you just keep going with it. You know?
And it's in your bio next to these bio consultation, like, oh, wait, they're real. That kind of makes it more real and concrete.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're seeing that your videos and your posts are actually creating like an online community of people. It's fun.
I get some advice on that too, coaching varsity members on the us that gets in the way of what you actually post. Remember that there's things you do every day, business wise, that consumers don't know. So like a very easy set of initial content is breaking down concept like our agency, about showing homes. Like I know on TikTok, some of this like digging deeper behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Stuff is interesting, but take a concept of something you do every day and know inside and out and say confidently. Get your light, get your elevation, right?
Yeah.
And chop it down into smaller pieces, whatever you thought was small, make it smaller, try it. And if it sucks, archive it, delete it. You just have to like bring out what you already know. Don't go make up some new stuff and copy other things. Like talk about like the same stuff you're saying, sell it or buy it constantly 50, 60 times. That's exactly what you should record. Because you know that. And the more
So
time
true.
you are in delivery, the better it's going to translate on the media.
So true.
They get more nervous to like actually like, physically post something.
Like hit the post button.
Because you're gonna like mess it up.
I'll do it for you.
Me and Matt, but like.
No, I get what you mean though, especially like when I'm posting on other people's platforms, like I'm just the person behind the phone. I get more nervous, whereas if it's my account, I mean, whatever. But like when I'm posting on someone else's, it matters more, obviously. But yeah, I also think the stuff you post in the beginning, you're just like messing around. You might look back in a year if you get in a group of it and be like, what was I doing? Like, what was that? Who cares? Have fun with it. And like you said, like if you have something that you think like, oh, everyone gets this, or this is something I talk about every day, not everyone gets it. If you have a little piece of knowledge to get and you think, oh, everyone knows this, they don't. And that's in my personal life, like on my personal channels, the stuff that I posted that's gone viral has been stuff like that. I'm like, no one knew about this product, like I thought everyone had this. So, yeah, very true advice in the back quarter over there.
Jillian, Kathy was asking if I could put the link that you gave, I believe that she's referring to the link that, helps you.
Download?
Yes.
Yeah, hold up, let me pull it up. I keep going. It is. Okay, it's Snap, it's NAPTIK. And then the other one is Snap Insta.app. Yeah, just, only one snap.
Yeah, it was just not listening to me.
Yeah, and then
Snap,
Snap Insta, yeah. Anything else?
Talk about your TikTok page and everything like that.
Yeah.
Concept to me, like what did you actually do? When you went?
So I worked for, they're based in LA, but they had content creators all over. So they would work with brands sold in Walmart and Ulta. So we would work with brands, they would tell us their monthly calendar, like, oh, we have a Black Friday sale coming up, we have this and that. And then we would create almost like UGC looking content, like user generated content for them. And then run their TikToks posted for them. So it was a lot of like beauty companies, self-care companies, things like that. But it was a really unique idea because I don't think anyone else was doing it at the time, creating the content, posting on TikTok. But there I had to be so on top of trends because we were making so much content that I was digging for every little trend I could make, because you eventually are making like 60 pieces of content a month. You're reaching at that point for something to do. But yeah, it was a really unique experience, but I gained a lot of knowledge on like the 7-second thing. And like, have you ever seen a video where the whole screen is text? You're reading a lot. That was like a way to get people to watch the video multiple times because it took them 3 plays to read the text. Yeah, little stuff like that I just kind of like learned on the fly. But that was really fun. And then Reels came along and the brands were just repurposing the Instagram or the TikTok videos on their Reels. And some of them would do better on Reels and some of them wouldn't. And it's interesting to see what kind of content performed better on Instagram and TikTok. But the difference between Instagram and TikTok in that experience was that the people on Instagram that were seeing the videos and interacting with it followed them. Whereas TikTok was all explore page and people that didn't follow them. So some of the comments could be like mean, like, what is this product, blah, blah, blah. Or some people, we open the doors to it.
It's
To
bad if they click. Bad if they click.
Yeah, well, that's also another thing, I think, like all publicity is good publicity. Not so much you wanna post something that's horrible, but getting people a little bit like riled up in the comments over something small does drive engagement. Yeah, so that was another thing. I don't know if that's everyone's cup of tea, but it certainly worked for us.
I literally think of like those big reels that are saying like, oh, you need to make this amount to purchase a home at this
Yeah.
price. If it's true or not, doesn't matter. Like people just go to comments like, that's not true, we didn't talk about this. So just
Exactly.
because then the girls can use these comments then like kind of going a little more in depth in the comments, even though like what's the real one itself, it's just like this blanket statement. But yeah, but that's something
Smart.
I'm afraid about too, but
Yeah. And it gives you more talking points for future videos if people comment, and you can even reply to their comment in a video, and then it just gives you ideas to work off of and then get more people in the comments. So yeah, that was what that was like.
And other than scrolling, what was your source for trends? Where did you look to find the trends?
So there are accounts, people on TikTok and Reels that post like, if you're a small business, use this audio now before it's too late. So there are accounts you can follow of people that find those and then push those trends out to you. But a lot of it was just from scrolling and saving ideas and following people that had similar niches that you could get inspiration from.
knowing your job
Mhm.
and knowing what you did. What's your roadmap for a new agent? Start.
Just start. I know that's such a blanket statement, but just start. And if you have a pretty listing or you have something to say, like you guys were saying, like a niche statement to make, things like that, just get started. Whatever you have, work with it. If you're somewhere, film. I always film wherever I am, like you just need to film. Because even if you think the content isn't that great, you can always work with it. You can always save it for B-roll for something else. Or do this thing I said where you put the text on the screen and make it a 7-second video. You can really make content with very little, but it does help to have the little things like the TikTok light and things like that. And if you have a personality, use it. Speak to the camera. Like I'm sure those videos before you were doing that style video, what were you posting before that?
I might post like me going out to a restaurant.
Yeah.
Environment. And with her personality, she's still bubbly.
Mhm.
It's like kind of good things there.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to her, I'm like, everything's forget, she's so bubbly.
That's good. Yeah. So there's really, that's a good way to get started, but yeah, was there a comment about music?
So I was on this call about like, it's what she was right?
Mhm.
Where like, let's say you were a realtor, you're trying to be involved in increase your price, right? So I want to be with you better than else. So I was in this class where they were showing me how to like look at maybe it's like the club or an activity that people that are in that demographic do.
Yeah.
And you purposely either follow or comment what they're doing. To get them to kind of recognize them. Right.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? How does that, is that something that's moving a sticker in? Is that like probably to kind of get into a certain market or what you?
I see social media as just like online, like what were you saying? Like online, not networking, but if that's what you would do in real life and those are places you would go and speak to people, why not be in their comments and in their online community? I don't see anything wrong with it. I also see some people, I don't know how well this works, but like some people will use the location thing to do something similar.
That's what I mean, motivation.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it because I have stumbled upon, for example, I was looking at a hairdresser and then at the location of the salon, and then someone posted, I messed this up. I was looking at a restaurant and a hairdresser did that, and I was scrolling through the pictures. I'm like, wow, that hair is really pretty, and I followed her. I don't know if it works for everyone, but like it worked for me in that instance, so I don't see anything wrong with it. Definitely a way to go about it.